Good evening and welcome to the 9 p.m. news telecast of the prestigious channel of Sri Lanka. I'm Charita Minupurarachi.
And I'm Kenza Farooq. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight. The railway station masters ends tonight. The President's Secretary says decentralizing of the President's Fund on the regional level has been successful. A complaint to the CID to probe false propaganda on the vehicle auction of the Presidential Secretariat. Signs of rainfall increasing in several provinces. Around 100,000 expected to migrate overseas for jobs this year. A complaint against former President Ranil Wickremesinghe to the Bribery Commission. Clashes during the Russia-Ukraine peace talks. 9 killed in a drone attack launched in Ukraine.
On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with the top local story.
The strike commenced by the railway station masters will end midnight tonight. Short distance train travel were maintained throughout the day today despite the work stoppage.
And however, long distance travel did not take place. The Ministry of Transport, Highways and Ports and Civil Aviation has condemned the ongoing strike by station masters, calling it an unjust and abrupt action that has caused inconvenience to the public despite verbal solutions have been provided. The station masters have commenced the token strike last midnight, which lasted for 24 hours. All night trains, including the mail train scheduled to have been operated last night, were cancelled as a result of the strike. The people were severely inconvenienced by the trade union action. The Railway Department says that, however, more than 90 short-distance train journeys were operated throughout the day today, despite the ongoing work stoppage. General Manager of the Railway Department, Dhammika Jasundara, said that large number of trains have been in operation, especially in between Negombo, Veyangoda and Galle. He said that they were compelled to cancel long-distance train. If they had not taken this action, train passengers could have been subjected to difficulties and would have been crafted dangerous situation. The Railway Department is also able to gain remote access to the signal system between Veyangoda, Negombo and Galle. These systems could be controlled from Maradana station. In other stations, they are unable to mark such a control as the station master of the relevant station is in charge of the signal system. The Ministry of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation Services issuing a communique in connection with the train strike says that the cabinet approval has been obtained for the filling of 909 vacancies in the Railway Department, including 106 station masters, but delays in internal processes within the department have stalled implementation. The release further points out that it has been not possible to make any new recruitments due to insufficiency between the certain subdivisions of the department. Furthermore, relevant recommendations regarding promotions were sent to the department on the 7th of May and arrangements have been made to send them for the Public Service Commission approval next week. The ministry expressed disappointment there. Instead of resolving internal inefficiencies through discussions, trade union action was initiated, raising suspicion that the real motive may be pressure the government and disrupt public life. These actions have been given release reiterates that the government will not hesitate by any means for the proper maintenance of railway service throughout the necessary mediation and ulterior motives behind the strike.
The Department of Meteorology has issued warnings on heavy rain and predicts a substantial increase in rainfall in the island in the next few days. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in Northern Province and in Anuradhapura and Puttalam districts. Heavy fall above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in these areas. A showery condition is expected to be enhanced in Western, Sabaragamuwa Central, Northwestern and Northern provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts during the next few days. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Showers or thunder showers may occur at several places elsewhere of the island as well as in the seas surrounding the island. The Met Department also forecasts the wind speed in sea areas beyond the shores from the Mathura to Colombo and also from Mena, Kankasanture via Trincomalee may increase up to 50 km per hour at times. Length of the sea waves on the shores from Kaluthara to Galle Strong winds which blew across certain areas in the Vavuniya town this morning have caused serious damages to shops and houses. Our correspondent says the electricity cables were damaged due to falling trees causing power disruptions. Heavy rains lashing on Navalapiti area this afternoon have inundated main road leading to the Sripada Pirivena from the Navalapitiya bus stand. Vehicle transport has also been obstructed. Heavy rains and strong winds experienced in the Aralangangwila Dehiyatakandya road has caused an accident in Alut Oya. When a tree fell on a motorcycle, 3 persons were injured in the incident and admitted to the Polonnaruwa General Hospital.
And meanwhile, the President's media unit says false news items regarding tender procedure pertaining to the sale of vehicles belonging to the President's office are being circulated in media and social media. These new items have an extremely malicious content and fabricated to mislead the masses. Complaints have already been lodged with the Criminal Investigation Department. The officers clarified that the sale was conducted transparently under Circular 05/2024 with an open government tender process announced by our newspapers on 23rd of April. A total of 108 bidders submitted their offers and tenders were opened publicly at 11 a.m. on the 15th of May. The President's Media Division further states that sale of vehicles was conducted according to the scheduled tender process. Out of 26 vehicles offered, 17 were sold to the highest bidders who had quoted price exceeding the official government valuations. 9 vehicles remained unsold as no bid met the minimum valuation. The President's office alleges that the organized groups are intentionally spreading misinformation to discredit the government using media channels and social media influencers, and adds that their malversations are of distinguishing nature.
The number of those registered at the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau for foreign jobs this year has exceeded the figure 100,000 by today. Most of the prospective job seekers have been registered for jobs in the state of Kuwait. 100,413 persons have been registered and engaged in overseas employment since January of this year. 64,150 persons were self-registered and 36,263 persons via agencies. The registered persons had migrated for employment in several countries including Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Japan, Israel and South Korea. The aim of the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau is to send abroad 340,000 job aspirants for overseas employment this year. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says that the Perivena education had laid the foundation for a systematic education methodology in the country. She has made these remarks participating in the Vajra Jayanti celebration of the Siri Ratna Jyoti Perivena Educational Institute in Urapola, Matara yesterday. A museum commemorating the late most venerable Rajakiya Pandita Kambrupitiya Vanaratna Nayaka Thera was declared open by the Prime Minister, and a scholarly publication of Rwanda launched in conjunction with the anniversary was also presented to the Prime Minister. The Mahasangha and the People's Representative have graced the occasion. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that the main expectations of the present government includes nurturing future generation that is humanitarian, environmental conscious, respect of Sri Lanka's cultural diversity and enriched with scholarly knowledge. The Prime Minister further emphasized that the vision of government to a new Renaissance era extend across all sectors including politics, economy, religion, education and culture. She said that the government aims to correctly identify and address the current crisis within the Perivena education system through a proper intervention.
විවිධ විදියට මැදිහත් වුණේ අනුරාධපුර යුගයේ මහා විහාර පිරිවෙන කෝට යුගයේ තොටගමුවේ විජයබා පිරිවෙන විද්‍යෝදය පිරිවෙන සහ විද්‍යාලංකාර පිරිවෙන ආදී ලෙස මෙරට අධ්‍යාපනයේ මූලික මධ්‍යස්ථාන වූ මෙන්ම අදටත් අතිශය වටිනා මෙහෙවරක යෙදෙන පිරිවෙන් ගණනාවක් තියෙනවා. ආමුද්‍රණේ අපිට පිළිගන්න වෙනවා අද වෙනකොට පිරිවෙන් අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමය තුල අර්බුද ගණනාවක් තියෙනවා. අපිට වෙනස් කරන්න ගොඩක් දේවල් තියෙනවා. අපේ අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමය තුල පුනරුදයක් අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමේ පරිවර්තනයක් ගැන කතා කරනකොට අපිට පිරිවෙන් අධ්‍යාපනයකින් බැහැර කරන්න බැහැ.
Meanwhile, bilateral talks between Cambodian ambassador for Sri Lanka in the Cambodian ambassadorial office in New Delhi, Ratmani, and Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amritsuri have taken place yesterday. Issues of mutual importance, including bilateral trade and tourism, have come under discussion at the meeting in the Prime Minister's office. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amritsuri has also met the ambassador of the Philippines, Nina P. Kainglet, at the Prime Minister's office. The Indian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka says they were able to prevent a possible auctioning in Hong Kong of a collection of jewellery of archaeological importance found through excavation of sacred relics.
He adds that it has been possible to suspend the auctioning by pointing out that the procedure was illegal. Indian High Commissioner Santosh Jha further says that measures are underway to bring back the relics to India and thereafter to allow devotees throughout the world, including Sri Lanka, to venerate the sacred relics. The High Commissioner has made these remarks after meeting the Mahanayaka Theras of the Malvadu and Askiliya chapters. High Commissioner Santosh Jha has called on Mahanayaka of the Malvadu chapter, Most Venerable Tibatuave Sri Sumangala Thera, and received blessings. The Indian envoy has contributed the items to Sankaraja Pirivena of the Malvadu Mahabihare. The Mahasangha headed by Anunayaka of the Malvadu chapter, Venerable Diangoda Vijitasiri Thera, have also graced the occasion. Thereafter, the Indian High Commissioner has visited the Askiri Mahabihare and met Mahanayaka Thera, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Jnanaratana Thera, and received blessings. Contributions have also been made on this occasion valued at around 10 million rupees, which included projectors, smart boards, computers, chairs, almirahs and beds. The High Commissioner further said that the ceremony held in connection of the handling of the items of this auction about to conduct in Hong Kong was related to the selling of sacred relics, which comprise of gems and archaeological artifacts underneath the Piravahana village in Uttar Pradesh in the year 1898.
During the recent state visit of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi to India, to Sri Lanka, he announced assistance to the Anuradhapura Sacred City Complex project. He also announced an exposition in Sri Lanka of the sacred relics of Lord Buddha from Devni Mori, Gujarat. Public exposition of sacred relics from Sarnath and Kapilvastu have earlier been held in Sri Lanka. Recently, it were protestations from the government of India that secured a postponement of auctioning of the sacred gem relics of Lord Buddha at Hong Kong in China. The government took swift and comprehensive measures to immediately stop the sale and highlighted the illegality of the auction. It also called for returning these sacred relics to the rightful place in India, where they were found in Pibrawa in 1898. Once duly repatriated to India, devotees from all over the world, including from Sri Lanka, would have the opportunity of paying their respects to the sacred relics. India's commitment to promoting Buddhist ties with Sri Lanka is also reflected in numerous pilgrimage trips and special visits that have been sponsored by India for devotees from Sri Lanka. Mobile exhibitions on the life of Lord Buddha and on sites along the Buddhist circuit in India have been organized at different temples on each Poya day in Sri Lanka in recent times. We have supported the publication of Pali grammar book, Namamala, and also released Sinhalese translation of Jataka tales earlier this year in the direction of establishing a land corridor between India and Sri Lanka will also help Buddhists from Sri Lanka of moderate financial means being able to travel on pilgrimage to holy Buddhist sites in India.
Stay tuned with more local news after this break.
Kottumi, fun tamai. Lassana fun loke, kottumi saravihide. Hittega sita benda maate. Final session dape. Hittega badai botte. Hot and spicy guess maate. Rase. Prima kottumi, fun tamai.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Welcome back to the news. In more local news, Secretary to the President Dr. Nandika Sanat Kumanayaka says that decentralized action distribution of the President's Fund at divisional level proves successful and adds that they remain committed to expanding the services of the President's Fund for underprivileged patients.
He has made these remarks at a special training workshop held today at the President's Media Center for officials in charge of implementing activities related to President's Fund across divisional secretariats in the Western Province. The program to decentralize President's funds at the divisional level had commenced in February this year. The main aim of the program was to stabilize the services being carried out for the benefit of the destitute groups on the regional level. This workshop brought together subject officers from all divisional secretariats in the Colombo, Kalutara and Gampaha districts with a focus on strengthening their particular knowledge and operational capacity in delivering services through the President's Fund. Media advisor to the President, Chandana Surya Bandara, addressing the participants, highlighted the importance of building the maintaining strong relationship between the public servants and the general public. The session also covered critical areas such as information security in the computer system, the step-by-step process of handling medical aid applications from submissions to approval, as well as common challenges faced by officers while operating the system.
A complaint has been submitted today to the Commission investigating charges on bribery and corruption to commence an investigation into former President Ranil Wickremesinghe defaming the Commission. It was presented by President of the Puravasi Balaya Organisation Against Bribery, Corruption and Wastage, Jamuni Kamanta Tushara. The former president, making a statement before the media relating to a case against parliamentarian Chamra Sampath Dasanayake, said that the MP had acted according to a circular issued by him. The complaint points out that making such statement equals to insulting the Commission according to the Anti-Corruption Act, and that is an act that could be punishable through the Supreme Court.
And meanwhile, the release of water of the Pavakkulam reservoir in Vavuniya for cultivations in the Yala season has taken place yesterday under the direction of Vavuniya District Secretary P.S. Harat Chandra. The target is to cultivate 4,313 acres of land in the district in the Yala season. More than 1,500 farmer families engage in farming using the water of the Pavakkulam lake. 12 farm organizations are in charge of operating the cultivation programs. Office of the Director of Irrigation of Vavuniya says that water capacity of 24,000 acre-feet of the Pavakkulam reservoir is sufficient for cultivations in the Yala season.
Trincomalee provincial correspondent of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Priyan Malinda, was killed in a motor accident this morning. He was 34 years old and a father of 2 children. Priyan Malinda was also engaged in duties as a revenue officer at the Kantale Pradeshya Sabha. He met with the unexpected tragedy while riding a motorcycle at the Galawangur on the Kantale Habarana road. The motorcycle which he was travelling clashed with a lorry which had fled after the incident. The police are conducting further investigations. Priyan Malinda had shown skills in reporting of wildlife and mobile journalism reporting. He had excelled in the field of media in many ways. The remains now lie at the Habarana Hospital and funeral arrangements will be notified later. The Ministry of Health and Mass Media conducted interviews for the recruitment of medical laboratory technicians and physiotherapists today. These posts fall under the category of supplementary medical professions. The interviews were held for candidates who had qualified through a recent competitive examination. Successful candidates will be selected for the orientation and coordination training programs relevant to these roles. The ministry is planning to recruit 294 medical laboratory technicians and 200 physiotherapists. Medical laboratory technicians are being recruited after nearly 7 years, while it has been over 5 years since the last intake for the post of the physiotherapist. According to the ministry, Additional Secretary Administrations of the Ministry of Health and Mass Media, the selected graduates will be taken into the relevant training programs within the next 2 weeks. And now some more local news items in brief.
The Colombo Magistrate Court has ordered to release 12 suspects taken into custody and later on released on bail on charges of aiding and abetting the Easter Sunday terrorist attack. The Terrorist Investigation Bureau, which was investigation on the suspect, has presented to the final report to the Attorney General. The police have informed the courts that complaint is to be finalized based upon the instructions received by the AG. Billionaire businessman connected to the Siripura fertilizer fraud in Polonnaruwa, who was fled the area and remained hiding, was reported to the illegally received electricity and water to his house in the liquor shop and several institutions. Floka Group has taken measures to provide active contributions for the renovation of infrastructure facilities in Sri Lanka's film industry. Managing Director of the Floka company, Omar Mohammed, said that they aim to extend the positive contributions to Clean Sri Lanka project. Annual session of the Human Rights Protection Institute was held recently under the leadership of Chief Executive Officer Dr. N.M. Zafan. On this occasion, identity cards were issued for all district organizers. Felicitation awards were also handed over to the senior journalist Shirley Anil De Silva for his contribution to the Sri Lanka media field, and also to Administrative Director of the Association Reverend Dimuthu Daluwath for his services on national unity. Vesak lanterns, pandals and dancers are continuously being displayed and dancers conducted in many parts of the island in connection with the Vesak festival. A Vesak lantern presented by the youth group of Velehandi Kaduvele for the third occasion will be displayed tomorrow as well. It was the Hutch Institute which had extended contributions to the meritorious act of lighting a path leading up to the Sri Dharmaraj Vihare in Angamadila, Polonnaruwa for the benefit of devotees during the Vesak season. Financial contributions of businessman Vijayatunga of Kambalavatta, Belgoda has made it possible to organize a yellow rice dancela. Large groups have also attended a dancela which was conducted with the support of the presidents in the area. A series of Buddhist programs organized by the Sri Lanka Embassy in Thailand was conducted at the Wat Phlam Kawo sacred site in Bangkok City. A Paramita Vesak song jointly organized by the Paramita Vihare and Victoria West Buddhist Organization in Australia will be conducted at the Bintan site in Australia till the 24th of this month. The event is highlighted with pandals, Vesak lanterns and devotional song concerts.
A high-level group of finance ministry officials was engaged in a three-day tour in Malaysia. The aim of the visit was to gain an understanding of the economic policies and development in Malaysia. A group of more than 10 officials, including Additional Secretary of the Department of Planning and Economic Development of the Ministry of Finance, had attended a meeting organized by the Sri Lanka High Commission's office in Kuala Lumpur yesterday. The meeting also provided a platform for the exchange of information relating to Sri Lanka's investment opportunities between the Malaysian Trade Association representatives, businessmen and the Sri Lankan officials. The acting Sri Lankan High Commissioner in Malaysia, Muhammad Rizvi, was instrumental in organizing the meeting.
On this agriculture.
On your more local stories this evening, the High Commission of Sri Lanka in Singapore commemorated Vesak 2025 with a Dhamma sermon held at the Sri Lanka Rame Buddhist Temple on the 10th of this month. This year's Vesak celebration was organized under the spiritual guidance of Venerable K. Ratnananda Nayaka Thera, chief incumbent of the Sri Lanka Rame Buddhist temple, and the sermon was delivered by Venerable Dr. K. Gunaratana Thera, religious advisor to the Mahakaruna Society and a resident monk at the Lanka Rame temple. The occasion also paid tribute to the late Lakshman Kadiragamar, former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka. He was also instrumental in advocating for the recognition of Vesak as a day of international observance at the United Nations. The event was attended by more than 100 members of the Sri Lankan expatriate community, along with representatives from Singapore Sri Lanka Buddhist Association and devotees from various walks of life. To mark the Vesak week, the premises of the High Commission were adorned with colourful Buddhist flags, Vesak lanterns and decorations, creating a vibrant Vesak ambience. Stay tuned with international news after this break.
Kutumi, Fantamai.
Just hours after Russia and Ukraine held rare direct peace talks, during which Moscow reportedly demanded 5 Ukrainian territories, Kyiv says 9 civilians were killed in a drone strike that hit a bus. The largest ever prisoner swap between Russia and Ukraine could take place next week, according to reports. Both countries agreed to trade 1,000 prisoners of war each during negotiations in Turkey yesterday, their first direct talk since 2022. Ukrainian media now report that Kirill Budanov, head of the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine's defense ministry, is pinning his hopes on the exchange taking place within days. Russia's foreign minister has had a call with us counterpart Marco Rubio, local media reports. Interfax news agency has said Sergei Lavrov discussed further contacts between Russia and the US following talks in Turkey with the Ukrainian delegation. Media reported that Russian foreign minister confirmed Moscow's readiness to continue working together with American colleagues in the context. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has called for tougher sanctions on Moscow after a drone killed 9 bus passengers just hours after 2 countries held their first direct peace talks in years. 7 others were injured in the attack in Ukraine's northeastern region of Sumy. Sri Lanka's Evan David has been successful in winning the first match in the Belgium state of the Euro Formula Open motor race.
The event was conducted at the Spa Francisco Champs track in Belgium today. The Belgium stage of Euro Formula Open Championship consisted of 2 competitions. Evan took 31 minutes and 41.6 seconds to complete the event. The second place was secured by Tamit Kowalczyk of Poland. The third place winner was a Mexican national. Evan David has also won recently 2 encounters in the Portuguese stage of the Euro Formula 1 Championship.
Boxing tournament. 5 Sri Lankan competitors are scheduled to be in the ring tomorrow. Sri Lankan team was not successful in today's preliminary competitions. Sri Lanka was represented by 4 players on the 6th day of the tournament at the Sukadadasa Indoor Stadium in Colombo today. However, none of them was able to gain eligibility to enter the next round. Aravinda Hansajit, who was competing under the 57 kg weight class, was defeated Kazakhstan player Satsara Chatumina was representing Sri Lanka in the 48 kg weight class but was beaten by a Kazakhstan competitor. Pavani Kavisha was also competing under the 48 kg weight class and was defeated by her Indian counterpart. Sabrina Rahim, who was competing under the 52 kg weight class, was also beaten by a Kazakhstan player. The Under-22 Asian boxing tournament is scheduled to be conducted till the 23rd of this month. All matches could be watched live via iChannel on the national television.
The grand final of the 2025 Sri Lankan's Reliance International Netball League tournament is scheduled to take place tomorrow. ChannelEye of the national television will give a live telecast of the event starting at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. 6 teams were in the tournament, which is being conducted for the first time in the country. The maiden encounter of the tournament was between the Sri Lions team and the Kotanavala Defence University team. The Sri Lions team has emerged victorious by a margin of 89-12. The second match was between the Public Services Netball team and the Brunei team. The Public Services team has secured an easy victory of 66-33. Preliminary rounds matches of the tournament are scheduled to be conducted today as well at the Sri Lanka Air Force Indoor Stadium. In the last day of the tournament tomorrow, the matches will be conducted at the St. Joseph's College Indoor Stadium. And with that, we conclude tonight's news digest tomorrow at the very same time. I'm Charita signing off with Kinza. Stay safe and good night.
Good night.